Hello, I'm Wendy, and this video is on the 3 keys to embodying your intuitive power. So this video is to support you during a time where we have immense consciousness rising, in that, people are waking up to their abilities and to their intuition and to their gifts, their internal soul. Our soul is emerging, and some of that is inviting us to heal more deeply, and some of that is asking us to make very clear, conscientious choices in our life, and some of that is waking up to our intuitive ability. So I want to talk a little bit about these three keys to embodying your intuitive power. The first one is first to understand how your intuition works. So I'm going to break this down a little bit. So one word that gets tossed around a lot in the energy healing world is empath. I'm an empath. I'm an empath, therefore I feel energy, I sense energy. That's one word. Another word is psychic. I'm psychic. I see things. I get information before it happens, etc. There's different terminology to describe how our intuition is working, and so I just want to break this down further. So first of all, we have four main aspects of our intuition, four ways our intuition works in our body. It is the clairvoyant sense, which is the seeing sense. It's the clairaudient sense, which is hearing information, guidance that comes through words or sometimes even from our inner child. There's also our claircognizant sense, which is the knowing sense. Some people will describe that as, I don't know how I know or why I know, I just know. I just have a knowing feeling. And the fourth sense is our clairsentient sense. And what happens in our body on an energetic level is that with these, we basically have a lower body intuition and upper body intuition. So our lower chakra intuition, because these intuitive senses relate to the chakras, I'll explain that here. The lower body is our clairsentient sense, which is our empathic sense, and also our claircognizant sense. Claircognizance can also be a little bit higher up in the body, but what happens here is that the lower, so claircognizance and clairsentience are very related to the first three chakras in the body. In clairsentience, we feel mostly what's underneath the table. That's the empathic sense. I'm feeling what I can't see overtly, but I have a sense of, or I'm feeling emotional energy. That's the clairsentient sense and the empathic nature. The claircognizant sense is the backside. As I am connected to the backside of my soul, my consciousness through the back body, I get a sense of knowing, downloaded quickly, body responses, shivers and tingles and body sensations are often that claircognizant sense in the body. The body's communicating something kinesthetically through that sense of knowing. And then there's our upper body intuition. That upper body intuition comes down to the heart, and that is our hearing sense, which is also that sense of guidance. Like I'm hearing, I'm getting the messages, I'm receiving that information. Clairaudience often comes through words, sometimes songs, sometimes license plates. That audience sense, I'm hearing words or I'm receiving messages. And then we have our clairvoyant sense, and that is the ability to perceive, get the higher knowing, or see pictures and images on the intuitive level. And different people come into this world with stronger, or I should say it this way, we all come into this world with stronger clairsenses than others. Some people will feel like, wow, all of those resonate for me. I get them all. And that can be overwhelming to have all of them activated. It was for me. I have learned that I have all four, but I didn't know that growing up. I just thought there was something wrong with me. I was on nervous system overload through the majority of my youth. Until I started to receive training and understand what's going on, what's in my body. And so those some people will come into this world with a strong clairvoyant sense and a strong upper body intuition, and maybe not so strong in the lower chakras around empathy, feeling, or even getting that sense of certainty, sense of self, and knowing. On the flip side, some people will come into this world with a strong empathic sense. I feel energy. I cry when other people are having their feelings, or when they're not having their feelings. When they're displacing their emotions and I'm feeling them, I'll have an emotional response to that. Um, and some people will, just get that sense of knowing very deep in a very young age. And when we are lower body intuitives, but not necessarily open in the upper chakras, we'll get caught in codependency and in transference. We'll get caught in dynamics where it's very hard to feel ourselves, and we're over absorbing. So basically, what's really important as an intuitive is that, and when you're embodying your intuition, is understanding that intuition is an embodied experience. It's not just hearing the inner voice. That is a part of it, but there are different ways our system takes in information on that sentient and intuitive level. And you might be someone who has, various clairs going on, active, and maybe there's blocks in some particular areas that, wow, I doubt myself. I get the knowing and I doubt myself. This is important to know how your body's intuiting information, because it shifts from, wow, I'm out of control, or I don't understand what's going on, to, holy cow, I can feel myself. I feel my center and how my body intuits information, and I can tune in to those particular power centers in the body when I'm getting intuitive information that comes through, so I can gain greater clarity. This is all part of training. This is all part of learning how your system processes information. But here's the other part that's going to take me to the second piece, which is that that the third key is actually what keeps us from um, embodying, or I should say, keeps us. It's one of the three keys to embodying your intuitive power, is understanding where you've been disembodied. So in the field of energy work and in healing work, we um, out there in the world, there's a strong emphasis on the upper body, in the upper chakras. We're going to do past life work. We're going to do ascension. We're going to connect to spirit guides and angels. We're going to heal on that soul level. We're going to clear, we're going to go higher and higher and higher and higher in the spiritual world, in the spiritual realm. And it's not wrong. And honestly, it's not what I don't teach in my training programs. But what's important to know is that transformation, full transformation, if we're spiritually evolving, if we are expanding and we are growing on that spiritual and soul level, human transformation happens in the root chakra, not anywhere else. And what I mean by that is that the root chakra area of the body is what helps us bond here on this earth and feel safe and trust ourselves and walk amongst the people, have a footprint here on this earth. And if I'm ascending and ascending and ascending, and I'm opening so that my upper chakras are becoming more developed, but I'm deeply wounded and I'm carrying unprocessed wounds in my lower chakras, then I am disembodied. I am spiritually bypassing. I am disconnected, and I'm not able to relate on a human level, certainly in a client setting, in a way I'm not able to relate with the clients or anyone in a way where someone's going to trust me. That sense of trust, that sense of, okay, I'm going to do this deep work and then I'm going to integrate it and embody it and let myself walk it and be conscientious and clear in my relationships and in my connections. That work is lower chakra work. That's deeper in the body. So we can continue to expand and develop our intuition because it's there, but it coincides with this sense of grounding. I need to ground into me, because when I ground into my being through my grounding cord into the earth, what happens is, for one, I become more connected to myself. But secondly, my intuitive abilities become clearer. Because if prana is rising in my body, I'm not going to be accurate. I'm not going to make sense. I'm not going to understand it. The only way we understand it and what's happening in ourselves is if we come into our body and incorporate that sense of grounding and connection in our lower body. Which brings me to the third key, which is healing. Healing your wounds, clearing your blocks. The intuitive work coincides with healing. It just does. There isn't going to be a way that we are going to, if on a long term, I should say it this way, it's not going to be sustainable to be developing your intuition and to be advising or seeing or tuning in and helping others and overriding your own wounds held in the body. The two processes, they coincide. And the other part to mention here is that, healers and intuitives, there's a stigma, in a way. It's like, the accountants can make a living, dentists can make a living, doctors can make a living, teachers can make a living. All these other professions, quote unquote, are worthy and have value in making a living and being able to receive, an exchange for those services. Those we can sort of justify in our mind because there's some credentialing or there's something in there that says this has more value and worth than the healer or than the intuitive. And what happens is that we get raised. The healer has been submissive and submerged or suppressed in a culture of patriarchal um, teachings that are in the collective. They're built into society, that the healer, is a witch or intuitives, or they're crazy, or there's something wrong with them. And so we embody this sense that, me as an intuitive and someone who has deep wisdom and information, and I'm here to help, and here to help on a deeper level that, perhaps throughout time there wasn't credentialing for. It's like a deeper state of to being in tuned with, that this doesn't have as much value. And what the healer starts to embody is a sense of unworthy, worthlessness, the feeling of being worthless, the feeling of who I am isn't okay, the feeling of shame, the feeling of I am, I'm not, who I am in my deepest nature is flawed, is not okay, and I don't belong here. And then out of that comes this feeling of, because I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy of making a living. I'm not worthy of receiving money. I consistently go, into a mindset of under earning or lack or fear. And so we start to develop this sense that I can't, I can't give to myself. I can't help myself develop this part of me. I can't, I'm certainly not going to be able to charge for this work because, well, it should be free. Really, I'm here to do heart's work. And it becomes corrupt in our system when we start to look at the facets of how much healers have been devalued and suppressed and wounded in this nature of, growing up or growing up in a system that doesn't value it. And so this, coupled with this huge consciousness that's rising, and people who are called to step into their gifts and called into it. I mean, this is what trainings are for. It's like there's an ability to do to understand what's going on in your system, and the only way to strengthen that in yourself is to deeply listen within, from within, and follow your own path towards receiving more training and support on how you are going to be reparented, you know, how you're going to shift the system from a flawed system so that you can now allow this true part of you out. And so we're in this consciousness, and it's rising, and we're called to it, and we're called to face our shadow as intuitives, as healers. We're called to look at where we have been holding belief systems and other people's expectations and thoughts and other people's belief systems about how we're supposed to operate in this world. And I can tell you that, you know, I came from, I know I came into my gift fairly young. I was, when I realized, or when I went into my training, I should say it that way, I learned from a teacher for a couple of years. The majority of my training came from my own process of different trainings, and also my own case studies in turning to my gift. But when I started to learn that this is what was going on for me, and I was intuitive, and I had a deep gift to be a healer, not just to be intuitive, but to be a healer, to help people through transformation. That process was, you know, I had, first of all, back then, it was under the table. I didn't say I was an intuitive. It was way under the table. I'd say, you know, I'm a coach, or I used to say I'm a consultant. I'm a consultant, until they'd ask more questions. And then I'd say, okay, so I do sort of like personal growth work. I'd see how open they were, you know. But that process, you know, back then was really under the table. And I get it. There are places in your life and in this world that are still, you know, you can't out yourself as an intuitive. But I will tell you that consciousness is rising, and there's a place for you, and there are communities, and it is more on the table now, and we are asked to step in and embody and deepen our work together as intuitives and as healers in the world. And my my style and my perspective is that we do it in an embodied way. You know, we do it by being grounded. We do it by healing our wounds. We do it by understanding how intuition works in our body, and not, you know, not by just developing the upper half. That part too. I mean, it's a whole system. It's not just one upper versus lower. It's the entire embodied energy system. So these are the 3 keys to helping you embody. And I'm just going to leave you with a little meditation here. I'm just going to have you close your eyes for a moment and feel your grounding cord nice and secure. It's a beam of light or a tree trunk-like image, secure around your hips and your sit bones. It goes down deep into the earth. And given everything that you just heard, we're just going to hold space for your spirit to embody, with the awareness that there is a place for you on this earth with your gifts. And you may be a feeler, a knower, a seer, or someone who hears. And you may be a combination of several of those, or you might be all of them. And just acknowledging that in yourself helps you ground. And there may be more for you to heal, so that you can understand it further so that you can embody further. And maybe the message for yourself is, I will do that. I will find a way. I will find a way to help myself actualize my intuitive abilities and my gifts, so I may be of service and live my truth in this world. Whatever feels true to you. I pray for a beautiful sphere of grace around you, that you are held in your own sphere of light and protection. I pray for light around myself. And that your energy is in your body as my energy is in my own. And I give thanks to God the Father and God the Mother, and to the angels and guides who are present, helping each of us heal in our highest good. I'm grateful for being of service in the highest way that I can be. And I pray that you continue to walk in the love and the light of who you are, and that you may be guided by your own true heart every step of the way. And thank you. I hope this video supports you on your journey of understanding more deeply how to embody your intuitive gifts. And we will talk soon.